When Marcus Reynolds built Brightmart, he promised himself one thing: no employee would ever feel invisible. The company grew fast, hundreds of stores across the United States, thousands of employees, and millions of customers every week. On paper, everything looked perfect, but Marcus kept seeing something troubling: customer complaints, employee reports, stories about rude managers, ignored shoppers, and workers being treated unfairly. Yet every time corporate leadership checked the stores, everything seemed perfect. Marcus had a feeling the truth was hiding somewhere behind the polished reports. So he made a decision. For 24 hours, he would disappear as CEO and reappear as someone no one would notice. The next morning, Marcus walked into one of his busiest Brightmart locations wearing faded jeans, a plain hoodie, and a name tag that read, Mike, temporary staff. Only one person knew the truth: the HR director who arranged the shift. To everyone else, he was just another temporary worker hired to help during a busy weekend. Marcus spent the first few hours stocking shelves and helping customers. Most employees were kind. Some even welcomed him warmly. But one person stood out immediately: a floor supervisor named Derek Collins. Derek walked through the store like he owned it. He barked orders at employees, ignored customers, and rolled his eyes anytime someone asked for help. At one point, an elderly woman politely asked Derek where she could find cleaning supplies. Derek sighed loudly. "Not my department," he muttered, walking away. Marcus watched the woman stand there, confused. So Marcus stepped in. "Ma'am, I'll help you," he said kindly. She smiled with relief. "Thank you. I asked that other worker, but he seemed busy." Marcus knew exactly who she meant. By the afternoon, Marcus had seen enough to know Derek wasn't just rude. He was careless. When a delivery truck arrived late, Derek blamed the warehouse workers. When a cashier asked for help with a price error, Derek snapped, "Figure it out yourself." But the moment that shocked Marcus the most happened near closing time. A teenage employee accidentally dropped a box of glass jars while unloading inventory. The jars shattered across the floor. The young worker froze. "I'm sorry," he said nervously. Derek stormed over. "Are you kidding me?" Derek shouted loudly enough for customers to hear. "You're useless. Do you know how much that costs?" The teenager looked embarrassed and scared. Marcus stepped forward. "It was an accident," he said calmly. Derek turned to him. "And who asked you?" Marcus kept his voice steady. "You don't need to talk to him like that." Derek laughed sarcastically. "Oh, look, the temp worker thinks he's the boss." The nearby employees stayed silent. No one wanted to argue with Derek, because everyone knew Derek had one thing they didn't: power, or at least, he thought he did. Marcus decided to push one step further. The next morning, the final hour of his 24-hour undercover shift, Marcus approached Derek. "Hey," Marcus said casually, "I noticed customers asking for help yesterday. Maybe we should check on them more often." Derek leaned against a shelf, smirking. "Listen, Mike." He pointed toward the exit. "You're a temp. You're here for one day. Don't act like you know how this place works." Marcus nodded slowly. "Interesting." Derek shrugged. "Here's a tip. Do your job, keep quiet, and maybe they'll keep you another week." Marcus reached into his pocket. Derek rolled his eyes. "What now?" Marcus pulled out a small company badge. But this one didn't say Mike. It said, Marcus Reynolds, CEO. For a moment, Derek didn't react. Then his smile faded. "You're what?" Marcus looked directly at him. "I'm the CEO of Brightmart." The nearby employees froze. A cashier dropped a price scanner. Another worker whispered, "Wait, what?" Derek's face went pale. Marcus continued calmly. "For the past 24 hours, I've worked here as a temporary employee." He glanced around the store. "And I've seen a lot." The entire room was silent. Marcus turned back to Derek. "I saw how you treated customers." Derek swallowed. "I saw how you treated your coworkers." Derek tried to speak. I didn't know." Marcus raised a hand. "That's the problem." He paused. You shouldn't need to know. Marcus gathered the store employees near the registers. I built this company on respect, he said firmly. Respect for customers, respect for coworkers, and respect for the job we all do. He turned to Derek. Unfortunately, you've broken every one of those rules. Derek looked desperate. Please, I need this job. Marcus shook his head. You had this job. Then he said the words everyone in the store would remember. You're fired. Corporate management arrived later that day. Derek was officially terminated. But Marcus didn't stop there. He promoted the kind cashier who had been helping customers all day. He praised the teenage worker Derek had humiliated, and he announced new leadership training for every Brightmart supervisor. Before leaving, Marcus turned to the employees. Yesterday, you thought I was just a temp worker. He smiled slightly. But the truth is, he looked around the store. Anyone can be watching. The employees nodded, because they had just learned something important. Sometimes the most powerful person in the room is the one no one notices, and sometimes the worst employee discovers the truth too late.